It kind of works, but I forget it. Just have everything the way it is. If people want to talk stats, they can talk stats. If they want to talk character, you know, guess what? Them talking character is going to be equivalent to them out of character. It's basically they don't have to put on a facade of who they're trying to pretend to be. And that's where like the whole idea of just you running around and you see ruins here and there, and because I think the other thing that'll happen is whenever you get new players coming in, they're inherently going to find themselves and realize that, oh hey, I can be a brigand, I can be a raider type, and just run around and steal from things, and kill people and just kind of like be a rampaging bandit kind of thing, and that's kind of encouraged because then you want those new players just going around and figuring things out and kind of muddying the waters a little bit for the other players, because that's what's going to give those other players enjoyment. And it's understood by other players that this is okay. I mean, yeah, you're going to hunt these guys down and beat them up, but otherwise, it's them learning the game and then understanding the world and environment. There's permadeath, and then there's just being knocked out, unconscious states for NPCs and avatars and players. So because I want it so you can have people can be captured and taken to other locations, like in a prison, and rather than the players sit there and be bored, they can go to floating eye mode and just look around, and do whatever, and they have the ability to talk to people. So. And I mean, and there's there'll be ways to occupy the player's time, so that it's understood that look, we're not going to make you pay money just for you stuck sitting someplace. That's why I was trying to explain with the serf idea of you tie a NPC to a piece of land and say, all right, this is where you're going to farm, and the unique aspect is that. Or I think a neat way to go about it is that once you tell the NPC, all right, you now serve me. This is the piece of land I want you to farm. And for one thing, if you don't make that guy happy, he'll walk away. So he'll break the contract with you. But otherwise, he'll farm the one piece of land, the piece of the plot right next to it. He'll make a little tent and farm or a campfire, and that's like that's where the guy lives. So you'll see the guy roam back and forth between the plot of land where he's just tilling a field and his little tent. That's later on where it's like there's another game called Rome, City Builder, stuff like that. But it's you're a city builder of Rome. That was kind of a neat idea and aspect. So you can go like that. And if you're probably maybe thinking, well, doesn't sound like Civilization? Yeah, but a bit more detailed. And what a lot of fans of the Total War series of games have commented on is, what if you could have Total War battle engine and Civilization landscape? And we're all all of us are like, hell yeah, man, that would be pretty awesome, because then you just make as many cities as you want. I think maybe you could possibly achieve that with this game. So to get back to an earlier idea about you have a bunch of players who are part of a guild, and I think that one of the things you could do is you have a guild, and this guild could decide, well, let's actually intermarry our kids, and let's have so that way we're all we'll put the group interests into our offspring, and so that way you can even have like the den mother sort of role, and as a person who kind of weeds out the weak and promotes the strong, or like it's gonna, because remember there's gonna be a breeding process that'll be allowed in for the human characters and horses. So with horses you can practice, and then once you get the hang of it, then you can start messing around with humans. And I think like that's just a very neat aspect, because like I said, you could have this idea that Well, if you have a town and you have a spouse in that town, and you have offspring with that spouse, you are off adventuring. You're killed. All right, now it's time to pick your heir. You know, the person that that's going to assume, or you're going to assume control of. You could pick your spouse or anybody who's descended or related to you in some way. And the thing to be careful is that, like, you could groom a guy to be a really, kick-ass, replacement for you, but if he's related even just remotely to some other character or some other player, that player could snatch that guy. So with the den mother role, you have somebody who just that's what they do. They just they make sure that the NPC offspring basically stay within the family or stay within the group, and and like I said, just starts breeding for certain traits. So which I think is just be a very fascinating thing to witness. A community that is is able to function in a weird way of just inhabiting different bodies of a common family. So, and you'd have arguments with that as well. But anyways, so you can understand. So I hope everybody understands what I'm explaining with when a piece of land is also going to have an aspect of who's living on this piece of land, who sort of controls the land, and who owns the land. Control and own, two different things, because own is like the king owns all the land, but he gives control of certain parts of it to everybody. So the guy, so king comes in, says, all right, this is my piece of land. I claim this thing. These 9 squares. Now I need food, or I need to start supporting the population. Okay, so in square 1, I'm going to tie a serf to this piece of land, and he's going to start farming it. Well, the serf is going to set up tile 2 as his camp, and in tile 3, the king can say, okay, well, this is going to be my camp. Tile 4 is where I'm going to have, whatever, in tile 5. But so what's going to end up happening is that as this guy expands his realm of influence and expands what he wants, part of that's also going to be that he's going to expand the number of people working for him, the number of NPCs working for him. So as a result, each piece of land is also going to be what a player or an NPC can designate as a home, which is where it's part of the whole log. When you log out, you have to be your avatar has to be attached to something, either to a bed where the avatar disappears, or to a desk where the avatar remains, but you are no longer necessary. You're not needed to be in control. When you're plugged into a desk, you have a managerial skill which takes over and influences everything connected to that desk. So that's where the idea of you could have guilds. So the reason why I think this whole game would work and all these concepts I'm throwing out there would work is look at EVE Online and what sort of environment is created there. You have a lot of people who are into it. So I mean, it's obvious that if you create just a very micromanaged or a game that can go from micromanaged to very little management, people will dig it. A range of people will dig it. And in fact, a lot of people like simple to use, but you can get it detailed as you want, because then they can just practice those certain details. Ultimately, that's what would make the game accessible to a broader audience. That's why I think mine would work, because you can have just a general skill that you like defense or offense, and you can just put points into those skills. It'll affect everything underneath those skills, but that's all you're doing. It's just you offense, you attack, or defense, you take the hit. But if you want to access the skill tree, then so be it. And there's all these different skills you can access, and there's the broader branches, and then all these little select specific skills, and then attribute or add these skills to those. And there's little things like that. And I think that would work out because, as much fun as it is to like be clicking away in combat on a game, I kind